So we're going to be talking about social media, personal branding, finding your niche, as well as being an influencer. And we have a very special guest. He is very well focused in his niche, and I'd like him to introduce himself. Before we proceed, please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and don't forget to turn on notifications. Without further ado, let's get started. So thank you for joining us, Fred.
Thank you for having me. My name is Fred Anyona, and I am a social media content creator. I create content in fashion, lifestyle, and anything around that.
That's so cool. So how long have you been living in Canada?
So I moved to Canada in 2018. It's around 3 years now, I believe. I came here in February, and it's been an amazing journey. I've learned a lot of things, and it's one of the best things I made in my life. I think the best decision.
So tell us about you getting into personal branding, and fashion, right? And how that journey, started.
So back in 2016 when I finished from USIU, and it was an outlet for me to be able to just share my skills and my talents, and just like have an outlet to share information. Because at the time there weren't really many bloggers or content creators who were male, or male fashion content creators, and it was important for me to just have that aspect, to just be a representation of Africans and just of different people.
Yeah, so what was that propelling factor for you that got you into, starting So You Like Fashion and, everything else?
So at the time, I believe I've always had a passion for fashion, and I always wanted to share. So when I started So You Like Fashion, it was a platform where I would share creatives. So we'd go for events like Thrift Social, we'd share different designers, people like Robert Mandela, and just showcase their skill and showcase their talent through a platform that I had. Again, it was a free platform. It was on WordPress, and I moved from WordPress and I went into Squarespace. Again, it took investing in myself and believing in myself, and just being a voice of representation was the main factor.
So I'd like to hear from you. So just about your brand, like what do you focus on majorly?
So at this particular time, I focus mostly on just male style, personal style, because I feel personal style is very important. It gives you, people judge you off of how you look. As bad as that sounds, it's the truth. When you walk into a room, people will look at what you're wearing and how you're presenting yourself. And for me, that's one of the things I'm very passionate about. I'm just sharing how to be able to have everyday style and fashion by not breaking your bank, or just being who you are.
A lot of people, when they're trying to get into personal branding, influencing, they're not sure of whether they're competent, So how do you make sure you're efficient? What does that process look like for you?
It takes a lot of planning and actually reading, because I've learned a lot throughout the years in terms of what to do, how to create content titles, thinking about SEOs, headlines, keywords. So I usually take time to actually look into these things and see the different topics that I'm going to write about. If it's about mom jeans, for example, if you have mom jeans for guys, it's dad jeans. So looking to come up with content that is actually relatable and useful.
Useful. Because I feel like a lot of people don't know that this is just about work ethic, right?
Correct.
So you're into fashion, right? And particularly male fashion. That's what your brand is about.
Yes.
So do you have like a number one inspiration, someone that generally I feel would kind of cause you to move into this direction, into that? So do you have anyone like that?
I've always liked Kanye West and his fashion. He's very outspoken, and he's very
that's
different.
True.
And the biggest thing that I always think about is making your passion into a way that makes you money. So he started his brand Easy, and people are going crazy about it, from the clothing to the shoes. And at the beginning, everyone was like, what the hell is this?
A lot of skepticism.
Exactly. But then he kept on pushing, and he kept on doing what he had to do. And today he's, I think, one of the richest men in the world.
Black men.
Exactly.
So, So the fact that you're from Kenya, you know, how is that transitioning? You know, anything noteworthy from the fact that you came to a completely different continent, completely different culture? You know, culturally there's a contrast.
It's very different, yeah.
So what would you like to share about that?
I think the first thing is that you need to be ready or be prepared for anything. It can be negative or positive. I do appreciate the fact that I had family and people who were here before and could be able to guide me through the different steps. Because moving to a new country or moving to a new continent, you tend to, it's like starting afresh, like living your life behind. So being ready and being prepared would be the first step that I would say you would have to take if you're trying to move out from like move to a different country, or if your circumstances force you to move to a different country.
Is there anything that you feel you would want people to know when planning to move to a different country, you know, permanently?
I'd say research about like jobs, research about the weather, because again, Canada is one of the coldest places in the world. So being able to adjust to the winter will be a thing that you need to think about. So if you're moving to Florida, if it's super hot, such things, so you just have to research and see what are some of the things that you need to do before you move into this place that you're trying to move into. And just being ready in terms of mentally and emotionally. It can be very draining, it can be very tough. A lot of people go through depression because of moving countries or leaving your lives behind. And the good thing is, with different countries, there are different ways or avenues that you can be able to talk to professionals just to help you overcome whatever challenges that you have mentally and emotionally.
What's a driving force for you right now? Like, what's an incentive that's keeping you going in this industry?
So the first incentive would be money, ideally. However, it's just being a representation of Africans abroad, because we see a lot of, especially Kenyans abroad. Because you see a lot of Nigerians and a lot of Ghanaians, a lot of Jamaicans who are abroad. And I feel like we don't have as many Kenyans who are, well, we have Majimbo and Lupita, but I feel like we need more representation. So that's one of the biggest driving forces for me, to be a representation of my country, of my people, and just to show that we are also out here and we are talented and we're creative.
That's really good. Say that you being here in Canada has given you more exposure. Like, how has it worked for your advantage?
One of the biggest challenges that I faced back when I was in Kenya was that when brands would try to reach out to send me products or send me merchandise, the issue of distance was like a huge thing. They'd be like, oh, you're from Kenya, we can't send you merchandise. I think that has changed right now because people are more aware of African content creators.
Right.
But then the good thing with Bing is that you have almost direct access to these brands, and it's easy to ship out to content creators. So for instance, I recently partnered up with Vitali, which is a jewelry brand based in Canada. So Vitali sent over this 2-piece ring. It's one of their rings that they have, as well as this necklace and other pieces that they have as well. So that's one of the advantages of being abroad or being in a country where you have direct access to brands. So I've worked with different other brands as well, like Garnier, the product line for, I think they do masks and such things. So yeah.
Great. So what are some of your current fashion obsessions right now?
So I'm very into the 90s style and the trend. So a lot of New Balances are coming in. So this is like the classic dad sneaker. It's chunky, it's almost ugly, but it's still fashionable. So like I do have a couple of pairs. I have 2 pairs, I think. I need to get more, but yeah, that's one of my fashion favorites. For me, the one thing I can spend money on is accessories and shoes. Clothing is a hit or miss, but if it's good shoes, a good pair of sunglasses, or a good watch, no.
You know, I think that I forgot to ask, how did you settle with getting into fashion as that being your main niche?
For me, fashion has always been something that I'm passionate about. So my mom has always been into like me dressing up and looking presentable, and I feel like that instilled a lot of discipline in myself. And fashion comes easy for me. and also writing, because I'm passionate about like writing a lot and communicating. So I do a lot of freelance working with like different magazines and writing about everything from fashion and lifestyle and food. So for me, fashion has always been that getaway that I have.
Right, very cool. Since we've been talking about fashion, tell us about, you know, these pieces that you have on today.
Okay. So this is my super casual outfit. I just have on my black shirt. This is from Topman, one of my favorites. I always dress this down and dress it up. Can go with a suit, pair of pants, or like denim. I have my fossil watch, which is one of my favorite pieces that I have. I bought this for myself 2 years ago, and it's just a simple, minimal piece that doesn't have a lot of stuff going on. Just about the rings by Vitali, and then on here I have my favorites from Kenya. So it's Kipato unbranded, the wrap bracelet which I actually helped design, and the Africa ring. My pants are, I think these are from ASOS. I got them online, and my shoes are just mules by H&M. So I love a bit of gold, which
That's
very
very
obvious.
cool. Yeah.
But yeah, so just having different elements and just standing out for me.
So what's a no-no in terms of, you know, your daily?
I feel the main thing is if you feel good about what you're wearing, it doesn't matter if it's wrong or not. If it's wrong or not. It's about how you feel, and that's how the beauty about Canada is that you can wear whatever you want, and no one will care.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned that sometimes, you know, there's some things that people wear that will seem unappealing, but people will catch on. That's something about fashion.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, and also I feel like it's a very liberated environment where you can do anything, you can wear anything that you want. You can wear Spider-Man suits, and no one will really care. So.
Yeah, and you being in Kenya, I just wanted to ask about this. You know, like I'm thinking that. For men getting into fashion, was that like hard for you to express yourself in that way?
Definitely, yeah, because again, at the time that I was starting, it was like a fresh new concept. There was only Franklin Salel, who is one of my favorites still. There was also Eddie Kirindo, and they were still pushing fashion as they could. However, it was a very new space. And the good thing is that today we have a lot of creatives who are doing their own thing. We have people like Philbert Mkwiche, who's doing his own design, and he's also, as you said, he's a designer and content creator. So we're seeing a lot of people coming into the field and changing the game as it is.
Yeah, it's very cool. So you heard it, guys, from Fred. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I'll make sure to include his social media as well as his website so you can check out his stuff and what he's all about. And make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video, and turn on notifications as well. See you next time.